Welcome back to the Sort Out SI channel with me, the Flying Scotsman. Today we're going to take a look at some players from our childhoods that we remember fondly. Some of them you did not realise were still in Football Manager, so let's dive right in and take a look at 10 of those today. At number 1 we have the striker Obafemi Martins, the Nigerian, 37 years old with 39 caps and 18 goals for his national team. As you can see, still looks reasonably decent. If you are a lower league club or in a small division just looking for a player. Broke into the scene in Europe playing for Inter Milan before getting a move to the Premier League with Newcastle, and from there it kinda didn't work out for him, going to Wolfsburg for a season before moving to Russia, and sent on loan to Birmingham for a few games, then back to Russia, not really playing, out to Spain with Levante before moving to America for the money for the Seattle Sounders, where he had a reasonable goal return. 3 seasons with 8 goals in 20, 17, 31, 15 and 24, before again another money move over to Shanghai in China in the Chinese Super League, where again he played very sporadically before getting a free move to Wuhan Zhao in 2020, and since then he has not had a club and he has just been sitting around waiting for you to sign him. But as you can see, a lot of Middle Eastern clubs are wanting him, so as you can see, Obafemi likes to chase the money. Number 2 might be a bit of a cheat, but it's Carlos Vela, the ex-Arsenal striker and wide man, 33 years old, currently playing for LA Galaxy. With 72 caps for the Mexican national team on £68,000 per week, still looks like a very, very good player, and if you are in need of a little bit of flair, 17, you can pick up Carlos Vela. Not exactly sure how much he is. I've signed him previously for around £10 to £50 million, but for some teams that might just be a bit too much, or he might not be worth that money. As we said, came to Arsenal in 2005 for £125,000, never really broke into the Arsenal team, spending time on loan over at Celta Vigo, Salamanca, Osasuna, then getting a loan move in the Premier League to West Brom, before moving to Real Sociedad, where he had a good time of it. Spending about 6-7 seasons there, went to LAFC for just under £4.5 million, and then from there he's become a bit of a superstar in that league. So 33 years old, if you're looking for that wide man, you can potentially pick him up. Number 3, Newcastle fans will remember Papiss Cissé for his short-lived time where he was a clinical striker. As you can see, again, like most people on this list, he still has reasonable attributes, so he might be worth a pickup. However, he is 37 years old and played 37 games for the Senegalese national team, currently playing in France. He started his career in Senegal, land of his birth, and then he moved to France, played a lot of second division football, before getting a move to Germany with Freiburg for £1.4 million, banging the goals in there, which earned him his move to Newcastle. First season, which we were talking about, 13 goals in 14 games. Absolutely phenomenal. And then from there, the goals just kind of dried up until his second last season, again a 1-2 ratio of 11 and 22. And then, like a lot of people on this list, went to China in 2016 to chase the money. And from there, he then went to Turkey, which can be known as a money league as well, with some decent returns there for Alanyaspor, with 16 goals and 26 in his first season and 22 and 32 in his second season, before earning a move to Fenerbahce, where he could not keep up that goal scoring prowess, and then he is back in France to hopefully end his career, unless you want to pick him up. As you can see, value only £28,000 to £85,000, so you could probably pick him up quite easily. Number 4, some that many of you may know, some of you will not, Jeremy Menez, 35-year-old Frenchman, capped 24 times, currently plying his trade in the second division of Italy for Regina. Just look at the technical abilities here. Great dribbling, finishing, first touch, passing, he can take a penalty, technique 17, flair 17, off the ball work 16, vision 17, natural fitness 17. He could potentially be a very, very good player. He can even be a decent striker with a good finishing. I mean, the composure's 13, lacking a wee bit, but the off the ball work, just absolutely phenomenal. He's currently wanted by a couple of teams in France, team in the MLS, and then, as you can see, most people will know him from his time at Roma and PSG. Never really that prolific until moving to Milan on a free transfer for the 2014-15 season. scoring 16 goals in his first season in Milan before moving back to France, and then again getting a money move over to Turkey, before then moving around, playing in Mexico for a few years, back to France, and then now he is plying his trade in Italy. So he looks like he could be a very, very good pickup for 1 or 2 seasons as a club, just looking to get that little extra push, but they can't afford the really good young players, so they just need that kind of gap in between. Number 5 is the 29-year-old Ravel Morrison, a bit of a problem child, some would call him. The ex-Man United player had lots and lots of potential, however, a lot of off-the-field issues just meant he did not live up to that hype. Currently playing in America for DC United, and he's wanted by St. Louis FC. And as you can see, still a decent player, Flair 18 as expected. He's good with both feet, can play just in behind the striker, can play off the left. So Man United youngster didn't really do much, went to West Ham, didn't do much, loaned to Birmingham, West Ham, and then just got loaned out. He went to Italy for Lazio, didn't really play there, came back on loan to QPR, went on loan to Mexico, and then he had another season sitting about at Lazio before going to Sweden and back to England with Sheffield United and Middlesbrough, over to the Netherlands with ADO Den Haag, back to the UK with Derby County under Wayne Rooney, and then Wayne Rooney has seen something in him and taken him to DC United with him. So if you're looking for another reasonably cheap pickup, only 29 years old, he could, if you can tame him, he could become a very good player for your side. Number 6, one of those classic streets will never forget players, Adel Taarabt, the Moroccan 33-year-old midfielder playing behind the striker, some very good attributes still, like a lot of people on this list. 17 for dribbling and first touch, really good technique at 17, vision of 17, flair 18, decent balance. He looks like he could be a reasonable pickup, although he's a bit more expensive than a lot of the players on this list, and he is currently playing in the Middle East, so he might be hard to prize away from there. As you can see, he started off his career in France before moving to Tottenham, not really breaking out. Went on to QPR before they signed him permanently in 2010-11, and that's the season that everyone remembers. 19 goals in 44 games for QPR, the season they got promoted to the Premier League, and then from there, he just didn't really reach those heights again. Going on loan to Fulham, going on loan to Milan, which was a big move for him. Getting signed by Benfica, I think he played alright when he was there. Spent a couple of seasons on loan at Genoa in Italy, but he was a regular starter for a few years in Benfica before recently moving over to the Middle East. Again, like a lot of them, a little bit on the older side, but he might be able to bridge that gap before a lesser club can get the better young players. Number 7, 38-year-old Peruvian Paulo Guerrero, striker currently playing for Racing Club, again value 110 to £325,000. Looks okay attribute wise, both footed, he's a veteran striker. Most people remember him from his time after Peru, because he did not really play actually for Alianza Lima. Came to Bayern Munich, was in the second team, got a couple of run-outs in the first team before moving to Hamburg for £1.7 million, and it's there that he started to get some more game time, get a couple more goals before moving back to Brazil for £2.8 million, where he became a reasonable goal scorer, 6 and 15, 5 and 17, 12 and 28 before his final season, and then he moved to Flamengo where he continued to score goals at an alright pace, 9 and 21, 6 and 19, and then getting another move to Internacional where he didn't really play in 2018. 2019 got 10 and 24, and then from there he's kind of petered off before moving to Avaí in Brazil. He likes to move about in Brazil before then signing for Racing Club in Argentina. So again, if you are just looking for that veteran striker just to get you some goals in a lower division or in a lesser nation, then he could be a smart pickup. Number 8 is the 41-year-old Maxi Rodriguez, 57 caps for Argentina with 16 goals. Reasonable attributes here, mentally really good composure, decisions, determination, 18 leadership. His physicals are lacking quite a bit, but he might be that veteran player that you need. Most people will remember him from his time at Atletico Madrid, where he moved for £2.7 million after spending a few years at Espanyol. He then moved to Liverpool for free, where he didn't really have the best of times, played 2.5 seasons because he moved in the winter window, it looks like, in 2009-2010 season, before going back to Argentina with Newell's Old Boys, getting a good amount of games run out here. Then moving to Uruguay for Peñarol, the big Uruguayan Giants before coming back to Newell's Old Boys, and then just recently moving to Hughes FBC. Whoever they are, never heard of them. So yeah, he is the oldest player we have seen so far. His value is not for sale, but I mean, never heard of this club, so you might be able to poach him from there. But with those poor physicals and his age, he might not be worth signing. Number 9, another veteran striker, the 40-year-old Paraguayan, 111 caps, 32 goals. It is Roque Santa Cruz. Most well known for his stint in the Premier League with Blackburn Rovers. Started off in Paraguay with Olimpia before moving to Bayern Munich, where he was a bit part player who seemed to consistently score 5 goals a season in the first team up until 2004-05 season, where he just started to not really get game time. Moved to Blackburn. First season in the English Premier League, 19 goals in 37 games. Second season just a 4 in 20 before getting a big move to Manchester City, where it unfortunately did not work out for him. Went back on loan to Blackburn for a move to Real Betis and then back to Man City. I'm assuming that was a loan, it should say a loan there, but it doesn't. And then going to Malaga just as they were starting to spend some money in the Champions League. Didn't really work out for him in Malaga. Moved over to Mexico for free. Then went back on loan to Malaga by the looks of it. And then since then he's been back in his native Paraguay. And then he started to bang in the goals in his late 30s here with 13 and 34, 26 and 34, 17 and 27. And his final season at Olimpia, 4 in the last 25, and now he plays for Libertad, one of the other big clubs in Paraguay. Attribute-wise, pretty poor technically, although he can finish. He has reasonable first touch, his off the ball works 12, he's got good strength and balance, he could hold up the ball well if you need him to. And last but not least, another Blackburn legend, Morten Gamst Pedersen. When was the last time you thought of Pedersen? 40-year-old Norwegian, still looks pretty good, can cross the ball, and he can take a free kick, he can take a corner, he can play nearly anywhere in the midfield positions. Still got good determination, teamwork and vision, but the physicals really let him down here. Currently a free agent, so you could sign him. I've actually signed him in an Icelandic Premier Division save for myself. Started off in his native Norway, got a move to Tromsø, played regularly before moving to Blackburn for £2.5 million, and he spent a long time at Blackburn. The goal numbers here do not do him justice because I remember always having him in my Premier League fantasy teams. He was always a go-to for me. He then went over to Turkey to play for a team I'm not even going to try and pronounce. Played 10 games before moving back to Norway, where he has stayed since. Firstly with Rosenborg, then moving back to Tromsø, getting 2 seasons at Alta. In his last season there, 12 goals in 25 games. And his most recent season he plays for Asan or Ashane Football, I'm not entirely sure. But again, if you're just looking for a wee bit of nostalgia, you can pick him up and then he can complete your nostalgic Dream 11. There we have it. This has been the Flying Scotsman on Sort It Out SI. Please, as always, leave a like. Comment down below if you can remember these players, which of them were your favourites, any other players that spring to mind from the nostalgia or forgetting footballers category. And as always, we will see you next time.